I've been there. But 2026 is my year, and it's all thanks to Game Day Men's Health right here in Richmond. Since starting treatment at Game Day, I'm hitting my goals. I'm down about 20 pounds in 2 months, and I'm honestly in the best shape I've been in years. They focus on the things that matter: testosterone optimization, weight loss, ED treatments, and peptide therapy. And with nearly 500 five-star reviews, they are Richmond's highest-rated provider for a reason. Schedule a complimentary visit right now at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Your home for Richmond Spiders athletics all year round. W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV HD2 Richmond. We are 1061 ESPN. Richmond, it's time to get your morning going. Super Bowl. Richmond Sports Talk by Richmond sports fans. This is Fitz the Bill with Jack Fitzpatrick. Struck him live from the capital of the Commonwealth, where sharp analysis, your cause, and Richmond always come first. If it's making headlines locally or nationally, we're breaking it down. Now,
take my time to South Beach.
Live from the capital of the Commonwealth, it's the Bill with your host, Jack Fitzpatrick.
Good Tuesday morning, February 17th. Appreciate you clocking in, getting your day started with us on Fitz the Bill on 1061 ESPN Richmond, the ESPN Richmond app, and ESPNRichmond.com. We're also streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you want to watch the stream live, just type in ESPN Richmond. We'll pop right on up, and you can watch, and you can like, comment, and subscribe to be part of the show over there. And, of course, you can call or text in to the Radke Insurance phone line, 804-327-0888 to be part of the show that way. Head to radkeyinsurance.com to get started on your free quote today. It is a massive day on the NFL calendar because the offseason, well, it began for all 32 teams at the conclusion of the Super Bowl, but now the wheels really start to get put into motion here. The franchise tag window opens today at 4 p.m. Teams then have until March 3rd to apply the franchise tag or the often not used transition tag to a player who has an expiring contract. And we've got the numbers out. A franchise tag will run you about $47 million fully guaranteed to a quarterback, roughly $29 million to a wide receiver. Looking at a running back to get around $14.5 million, tight ends $16.3 million, and then some numbers in there scattered between as well. But not a lot of linebackers, offensive linemen, defensive ends. Not a lot of guys in the trenches this window that qualify there because most of them are skill position players. As we've got a couple leading candidates that may get the franchise tag here, Alan. You got Kenneth Walker III. He's on an expiring contract, the Super Bowl MVP. George Pickens, the wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. Could you imagine George Pickens playing under the franchise tag for Jerry Jones? That's going to be a wild training camp. Kyle Pitts, he's a tight end for the Falcons. Daniel Jones is really the only quarterback that I could potentially see getting franchise tagged here in this open window. Because you really don't know what you fully have in him. He led you to that fantastic start for Indianapolis, but then after that, things kind of petered off. I think he broke his leg, then played on it, then broke another leg or something like that. So Daniel Jones, hopefully the Colts learn from the Giants' mistake from a couple of seasons ago. Daniel Jones is the perfect quarterback to franchise tag. If you go back in time, you remember that playoff season that they had under Brian Daboll, the first year there. They did it completely wrong. They tried to get Saquon Barkley to sign the franchise tag, and they tried to get Daniel Jones onto a long-term extension. Well, they got Daniel Jones on the long-term extension, but they should have flipped it, signed Saquon to the franchise tag, or you should have signed Daniel Jones to the franchise tag and signed Saquon to the long-term deal. But here we are, and Philly has Saquon, and Daniel Jones is on the Colts. Not a lot of candidates potentially for the Washington Commanders to get the franchise tag. Really only one player that screams it, but I don't see him getting tagged. Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel, he didn't have, the best of years, was struggling with injuries at times throughout this last season. He's on the expiring contract. You could argue Washington probably should want to try and get him back for another year, but they'll probably want to do that on a long-term extension rather than just a franchise tag that's just 1 year. And Deebo, I don't think is good enough to command a $28.8 million salary for 2026. So Debo could potentially be tagged by Washington, but they're a team that comes into this offseason with the fifth most cap space, $74.5 million in cap space heading into this offseason. That's prior to signing any expiring contracts, working out extensions, things of that sort. But they've got a whole lot of wiggle room going into the offseason, and you could fit Debo in there. You don't want to eat up $28.8 million of that $74.5 million with the Debo Samuel franchise tag. So I expect them to try and get Debo signed to some sort of extension. You don't want to necessarily lose him after trading for him last offseason. But of course, I don't think it would be a huge loss if Debo ends up walking out the door. But we'll see how that one plays out, because the Commanders have some real issues they have to address in their wide receiver room this offseason. You got Terry McLaurin back, but if you do lose Debo, then you've got to figure out, is Luke McCaffrey the answer? That back there, Jalen Lane, and kind of see how things progress. No real other franchise tag candidates, however, for the Washington Commanders. I just see them kind of staying the course and trying to rebuild that defense through the free agency window. How do you see the offseason playing out for Washington?
I don't see them using the franchise tag on Debo or anybody.
Yeah.
Of positional value like him, and it's not a knock on Debo. It just doesn't make sense to lock yourself into $28 million.
Yeah, exactly.
For what he brings to the team. And again, I know he brings toughness and the whole locker room thing, but I feel like under the youth of the coordinators that they've got, they're going to move in a slightly different direction on how some of these guys like Debo would have been used anyway. So he's expendable at this point. The Pickens thing, I mean, that's just Jerry being Jerry.
Pickens is going to be crazy.
They will regret that for the simple fact that, again, you don't gain anything by waiting. And it's almost the same exact situation as CD Lamb. You tagged CD, you waited, and then you had all these other guys who were better than CD set the market. Right now, there's no actual set market for wide receiver other than what was done last year. We all know once JSN gets his extension, that's going to reset the market for sure. And so I would want to get in front of that if I were them. And it probably saves them like $3-4 million, but again, it all adds up at the end of the day.
Then that's where the Cowboys have gone wrong for so many years. They don't save the $3 to $4 million on 10 players, and all of a sudden you're $30 million overspending. And what can you get for $30 million? A very, very good player. I expect George Pickens' salary to check in similar to the T. Higgins range, because I think that's the best comp you can have. T. Higgins, a high-end wide receiver 2, arguably a wide receiver 1 if he wasn't on the Bengals. And currently his cap hit is around $26 to $30 million. The final year of his contract in 2028, T. Higgins is a $33.5 million cap hit. So I'd expect George Pickens to be commanding somewhere around the $30 million a year in the cap. So that's something to monitor with the Dallas Cowboys. But also, if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I just made the move last offseason in trading Micah Parsons, which feels counterintuitive to what Jerry Jones's end goal was. But Jerry Jones stated after he moved Micah Parsons that was a move to bolster the defense. You trade one guy out, you bring in some future assets, Kenny Clark, things like that, to try and bolster the team. He felt that Micah, I guess, was a one-trick pony, could only rush the passer. I highly disagree with that. Micah is one of the 3 best defensive players in the National Football League, but that's besides the point. Jerry Jones just a season ago was talking about how they need to get better on the defensive side of the ball. It would feel counterintuitive, although it is Jerry Jones, it would feel counterintuitive if they then used $30 million of their cap to sign George Pickens, severely hamstringing them on the defensive side of the ball. But that's something that'll play out throughout all of training camp. I expect Pickens to sign a franchise tag, which will actually be a slight discount for the Cowboys. But I think in the end of it all, the $1.5 million they'll roughly save by franchise tagging Pickens will come back to bite them next year, because JSN is likely going to sign an extension this offseason. The Seahawks announced as well, Kenneth Walker likely won't get franchise tagged, or at least Sources told Adam Schefter that Kenneth Walker likely won't be franchise tagged because they're trying to work out long-term extensions with a lot of their guys. So they have that cap flexibility over the next 5 years to kind of keep this core together. So something to monitor. An extension is likely coming for JSN this offseason. Extension is likely coming this offseason for Puka Nacua as well. And the Cowboys want to get to the front of that line because of what you mentioned. If they wait for Puka and JSN to sign extensions, then Pickens' value is just getting driven up by his agent.
Yeah, and they never do. So
no, so
it's same old story.
All of that. I could talk until I'm blue in the face about roster management, and roster construction, and the Cowboys will still franchise tag George Pickens, not do anything with him. An interesting one too is Kyle Pitts, because he's coming off of his best career year, but it's another new coaching staff, another new offensive system. Who knows who his quarterback is? Well, that'll be fascinating to see. And a tight end, that franchise tag is $16.3 million.
Yeah, but he should eat in the Stefanski offense.
I would hope.
Yeah, he loves to get the ball to the tight end, and it should bode well for him if they decide, that he'll stay, or if they decide to tag him. I'm very curious about that, because it's funny. Leading up to this year, we'll probably say that like 90% of Falcon fans were sick of Pitts.
Yeah, and then he
had
his year.
Yeah, he had a pretty decent year. And they're like, oh, wait, maybe we actually do have something here. And then they get a new coach, and this coach likes to utilize his tight end, and now he's back on the board. I really think Pitts is one of those players where the Falcons would rather just keep him than let him go somewhere else and watch him blossom there. Like, it's one of those situations where they're like, I don't know if I really want you to get him so you can utilize him. But
I know it's like an only child playing with toys. Like, I want this toy, but I don't want it right now. I don't want to see you playing with it.
I joked about it as a Niners fan, but like we're going to be in the market for a tight end. It'd be great to get a Kyle Pitts to replace a Kittle, but obviously, like I said, the Falcons are not that crazy. And the franchise tag on Walker, I like Walker. I've openly said I think he's a top 5 back if he gets the touches. I don't like the idea of franchise tagging him. I think running backs need to be locked in as soon as possible, because the value on a running back is always in the front end of their contract. And the more carries he gets, the more exposure he gets, he's going to deteriorate pretty drastically.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I think that's a lot of people are making, I think, a mountain out of a molehill with this latest Adam Schefter report saying the Seahawks don't plan on franchise tagging Kenneth Walker. I think that actually says they plan on signing him to an extension.
Yeah.
Like, I think they have full intent to keep the Super Bowl MVP around for another 3 years. And at $14.5 million, Kenneth Walker would be taking a pay cut, because he's likely going to be able to command at least around $20 million a year. Plus, they've got to rework. The reports are that they're going to rework the Sam Darnold contract as well. So the Seahawks have a lot of moving parts. I don't think Seattle wants to tie up $14.5 to $20 million in fully guaranteed money to the running back position. I think they'd rather have that cap flexibility and extend it out over multiple years.
And look, he's got a good market if he wants to test it. The Texans need a running back.
Well, that's the thing.
In the playoffs.
Like,
the Chiefs,
the Seahawks got to be careful too.
Broncos, Steelers,
they've got to get the extension done before March 3rd, because if they can't reach an extension, then they're going to franchise tag him, because he will command a good amount of money on the open market. We've got a loaded show coming up today. This is a Tuesday that is college basketball heavy, especially in hour number 2. Ed Nixon, one of the key starters for that VCU Final Four team, he'll join the show at about 9:15. Talk about that run, 15 years ago now? Talk about that, as well as VCU, the team in 2026. Jay Butler, head coach for the Virginia Union Panthers. He'll be joining at the start of hour number 2. Virginia Union tops in the CIAA North. They're one of the best teams in the conference. They're one of the best teams in the country as it stands now. 23-3. They're ranked in the latest NABC Top 25. So we'll catch up with Jay Butler as the Panthers get set for their final 2 regular season games before heading up to Baltimore for the CIAA tournament. And at 9:30, we'll go baseball. Matt Wyrick, the Orioles beat writer for the Baltimore Sun, he joins at 9:30 to chat about the start of spring training and what to expect out of the Baltimore Orioles heading into this season following their disappointing 2025. Let's update you with some other things that have happened around the wide world of sports.
This is your Fitz the Bill morning update, getting you caught up on some of the biggest stories in sports.
All right, over in Italy, the Olympics, Elena Myers-Taylor won her first Olympic gold in monobob at the age of 41. Myers-Taylor is the oldest American gold medalist at the Winter Olympics. She rallied in the fourth and final heat. Myers-Taylor prevailed with a 4-run, 2-day time of 3 minutes, 57.93 seconds. Sticking with the Olympics, following a dominant semifinal win yesterday over Sweden, the United States women's hockey team will face off against Canada in the gold medal match. It is the 7th time since women's hockey debuted at the 1998 Nagano Games that the two have squared off with a gold medal on the line. The United States are hefty betting favorites as they have outscored opponents 31-1 in the previous 6 games. Over in the NFL, the Cleveland Browns are hiring Atlanta Falcons defensive passing game coordinator Mike Rutenberg to be the next defensive coordinator, a league source told ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. The Seattle Seahawks are unlikely to use their franchise tag on running back and Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker III. The Seahawks have multiple free agents that they want to retain and sign, and the team would also try to extend the contract of wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba. Michigan, over in college basketball, is number 1 in the AP men's college basketball poll for the first time in 13 years, ending Arizona's 9-week reign. The Wolverines claimed 60 of 61 first-place votes in Monday's poll to climb 1 spot and supplant the Arizona Wildcats, who were unbeaten entering last week before following at Kansas and at home to Texas Tech. A rough week for Arizona. In local college basketball action, VCU hosts George Washington with an 8 p.m. tip-off tonight inside the Siegel Center. Members of the Final Four team will be in attendance for Havoc Night, as well as early 2020 standout Bones Highland. And over across the pond in the FA Cup, McClesfield, a 6th-tier semi-pro team, hosted Brentford of the Premier League last night. Brentford came out on top 1-0 in a hard-fought contest. The 6th-tier McClesfield Silkmen took the Brentford Bees, amazing name showdown, to the brink. With 20 minutes left, McClesfield defender Sam Heathcote, he's a PE teacher when he isn't playing in the FA Cup, unfortunately headed an Aaron Hickey cross into his own net, and that was the difference in that one last night in the FA Cup as Brentford came out with a 1-0 win over McClesfield. I know everyone comes to Fitz the Bill each and every morning for the latest on the FA Cup, but man, I was like a crazy showdown. I love the FA Cup because you get stories like that. You get a 6th-tier semi-pro team hosting a Premier League team. McClesfield plays in a stadium that seats just about 5,000 people in a stadium built in 1891. And they hosted a Premier League team, nearly came out on top. So close. Who knows how that game goes if they don't have an own goal. And all of McClesfield, it's a semi-pro team. All of them have day jobs, like Sam Heathcote, a PE teacher when he isn't playing in the FA Cup. Apparently one of them, according to Scott Van Pelt, I heard, is a podcast host. There's another gym owner. So a lot of crazy stories over there in the FA Cup. Unfortunate loss from McClesfield. All right, we're going to get a break in here. We'll step aside. The Dolphins made a flurry of roster moves. How does that impact the rest of the league with 2 great players now available on the open market? We'll break that down coming up next on Fitz the Bill.
Are you suffering from a sports injury, chronic pain, or something that just plain hurts? Ortho Virginia can help get you on the road to recovery. As the state's largest provider of orthopedic care, Ortho Virginia's team of specialists offers surgical and non-surgical treatment options. With 12 offices conveniently located in the Richmond area, visit orthovirginia.com or call 804-915-1910. To discover why at Ortho Virginia, stronger starts here.
Weather reports on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, brought to you by Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, a premier Lennox dealer. Online at hermanallenplumbing.com.
Hi, Flo here from Progressive. You know, life changes quickly, so it's good to have flexible coverage.
Oh, you mean like adding another vehicle?
Yes, that's something we can do.
Great, because I was thinking about getting a van so we could just keep the kids' softball stuff in the car.
Oh, we don't need to get into specifics. Just saying it's easy to change.
Oh, and Hannah wants to try the tuba.
Again, we don't need the specifics.
Last year, she wanted to be a tap dancer, but that only lasted 2 lessons.
Okay.
But she kept the shoes because they are adorable.
Well, just know that with Progressive, you can easily add another car to your auto insurance because we know life changes.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different.
Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Henrico Sports and Entertainment Authority Executive Director Dennis Bickmeyer joins Bob Black for the Henrico Huddle, ESPN Richmond's newest monthly feature.
Richmonders love Pella, Virginia, and it's easy to see why. Pella gives you more, so you can feel confident choosing us for your window and door projects. While other companies may offer just 1 or 2 options, Pella has a full range: wood, vinyl, and fiberglass, so you get quality and customization, not just a quick fix. When you choose Pella, we'll handle everything from order to installation. Right now, get 50% off qualifying installations or 0% APR for 48 months. Find out more at PellaVirginia.com. Some restrictions apply.
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Only available with TurboTax experts. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile app.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. 106.1 ESPN Traffic.
Expect merging delays heading north on 195 between Broad Street and Bryan Park Interchange. Taking a look at Cary Street Road heading westbound, we're seeing some delays between Hillcrest Avenue and 3 Chops Road. And just be aware of an accident on East Main at 6th Street. And we're also seeing some delays heading north on Main Street between Orland Street and Dock Street.
Looking to grow your local business? Let's team up. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, host of Fitz the Bill on ESPN Richmond. Together, we can craft on-air campaigns that drive customers right through your doors. Ready to collaborate? Email me, jack.fitzpatrick@summitmediacorp.com. Logo Company Apparel, they are Richmond's imprint experts looking to give your brand a boost. With Logo Company Apparel, you get small town attention, big time quality, screen printed tees, embroidered polos, uniforms, promo items. They handle it all. They handle it fast, locally, and with a personal touch. Call 804-737-4141 or visit them online at logocompanyapparel.com. Logo Company Apparel, where your brand looks its best. The Dolphins yesterday, welcome back in, Fitz the Bill. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, Alan alongside. The Dolphins made a couple of roster moves. They released 4 players or cut 4 players. Of them, we all want to talk about, of course, is James Daniel and Nick Westbrook-Akine. I don't think anyone else of note really got cut. No, Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb, both were released. Tyreek Hill, by releasing Hill before June 1, the Dolphins take a $28.2 million dead cap hit this season. By releasing Chubb, if it is before June 1, that'll be a $23.8 million in a dead cap hit. However, all of the moves, the 4 cuts in total, will save the Dolphins about $30 million in cap space heading into 2026. So cost-saving measures, as I believe Miami's really just trying to strip it down to the studs, rebuild, go from there, because they've got the new GM, they've got the new coach, they've got a question mark at quarterback. Are they going to release Tua? What's the move with Tua? He's a massive dead cap hit if they end up moving off of him. But they are showing signs of wanting to kind of completely rebuild in this new quote-unquote era. And with the release of Tyreek Hill, with the release of Bradley Chubb, which kind of went under the radar a little bit, considering the Tyreek Hill release was the big news, you've got two players now, Alan, two high-quality players. And the Bradley Chubb release, that one is pretty big because he's coming off of one of his best career years, despite being double-teamed at the highest rate he ever has been in his career. He had his knee injury in 2023 at the tail end of 2023, missed almost all of 2024, and then was fully healthy in 2025. He's still around his age 30 season. Bradley Chubb is a guy who probably won't command too much money on the open market, considering he has had ACL reconstruction surgery on both of his knees. But he is a guy that is still a very, very useful edge rusher, and is a guy I'm monitoring for the Washington Commanders, because that is a position that the Commanders really need to fix this offseason.
Yes, we are in the season where every free agent is on
Tyreek Hill is not.
What? Are you kidding me?
No.
You better get online. Tyreek Hill is definitely in the mix.
Well, yeah. Online he is. In Jack's line, I do not like.
They don't need Tyreek Hill.
But they need Bradley Chubb.
They could use Bradley Chubb for sure. The biggest asset for Bradley Chubb is that he's still commanding a double team, which is very important if you want to have a premier edge rusher. You got to get him double teamed because it frees up a lot of other spots. And I like Bradley Chubb. I just like him overall as a player. Like he got the good guy award or something. He's never been a head case. He's dealt with a lot of nonsense in his career for somebody that isn't like a Myles Garrett. The Broncos fiasco and then going to Miami. So I like him if the Commanders really want him.
He was double teamed on 23% of his pass rushes a year ago. It contributed. This is such a weird stat. He is coming off of a career low 7.8% pass rush win rate after being double teamed at a career high rate, 23.1% of his pass rushes. And yet he logged a pressure on 10.5% of all of his pressures. I mean, that's the third highest of his career. That is very odd numbers just kind of coming through. But Chubb would be huge for Washington. They tried to kind of do it last year with Von Miller, who turned out to be fairly useful, as that front four kind of got decimated by injuries as the season went on. Von Miller was one of the constants, and he was kind of one of the lone bright spots along the front for the Washington defensive line. But Bradley Chubb could really add to it as well. And I think it would help them pull away from a lot of the Ruben Bain talk, because a lot of people are connecting Ruben Bain to Washington at 7 in the NFL draft. I think it should be Caleb Downs there.
If Caleb Downs is there, and I know we haven't gotten to that point yet, but I am willing to have this debate with anybody. If Caleb Downs is there, you got to take him if you're Washington, based on the philosophical
1,000,000%.
The philosophical approach of your new defensive coordinator and what he's going to bring and what he needs. He needs a Caleb Downs for this defense to really work.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. I'm right there with you. But I think a lot of fans are also clamoring for Ruben Bain, who does have the shortest arms that we've ever seen for an elite level pass rusher. I don't know how much you buy into all of that, whatever. You could bring Bradley Chubb in. It fills that gap. And then you could sell the Caleb Downs pick to the fans that aren't fully on board on that a little bit easier. Of course, that's not how you do your moves. You're not trying to sell it to your fans, but that is kind of a bright spot through it. Let's go out to the phone lines real quick. We've got Larry on line 1. Good morning, Larry. How are you doing on this Tuesday morning?
Pretty good. Thanks. Good to see you. Good to hear from you. It was funny because I remember calling the show about 6 years ago. I'm at Louisa today, and I remember saying, Bones Highland should shoot every time he gets it. And I remember the callers being like, it wasn't you at the time, it was someone else. And they were like, you're crazy, he's a freshman. I go, the guy's a player. And so just recapping that since he's going to be in town tonight. I was right on my call.
You were real right, Larry. I mean, Bones Highland turned out to be a pretty good player for VCU, huh? And he turned out to be a pretty darn good NBA player as well, as he's bounced around a couple of teams.
Well, the thing is, here's the only bad thing. Him coming back tonight, when you stay 1 year, that was a COVID, 1.5 COVID year, it's hard to be like, it's hard to be part of the, I don't know, what do you call it, the legends or,
like the all-time greats.
Yeah, because it's just like you weren't here that long. So he probably won't get the accolades he deserves. But one question about the tonight, the Havoc thing. It's a shame now. Do you have this in front of you? Is UVA playing tonight?
Is UVA playing tonight? I believe they are.
Okay, and then what about Marquette?
Is Marquette play? No, UVA's in action tomorrow night, and then Marquette. You are asking some off the wall. Both Marquette and UVA tomorrow.
See, Shaka Smart needs to be here, and so does you got from UVA. Well, you got Darius Diaz and who else? These people need to be here for this Final Four recapture tonight.
Shaka Smart will be here when it's year 25 and he's retired from coaching. As long as he's a coach somewhere else, he's never coming back. And that's not like a slight against him or anything like that. You're just he is now Marquette, right? Like he is that. And then when he retires, I think he can kind of pick which school he wants to represent. And as it stands now, VCU's the front runner for that, considering Marquette's been an up and down roller coaster, and we know how Texas ended. But as long as he's the head coach of Marquette, we will never, or any team for that matter, I don't think we'll ever see Shaka Smart step foot into VCU, into Siegel Center as a fan.
Really? Wow. I know Mike Rhodes for sure. Mike Rhodes is petrified of this place now. But I mean, Shaka, he's sort of the main statue of this Final Four. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100% he is.
So I would have thought he would have made an appearance tonight. But I guess you're right. He's working for Marquette. Can't really do it.
Yeah. But Larry, appreciate you. Yeah. Appreciate you calling in. Have a great rest of your day. Appreciate you calling in. Great to hear from you. Hadn't heard from you in a long time. So appreciate Larry for calling in. But yeah, as long as Shaka Smart is a head coach in college basketball, Shaka Smart is not coming back. But we've got Ed Nixon joining us in hour number 2 at around 9:15 to chat about that team, to chat about the team that we're going to see on the court tonight as well. Ed Nixon, a guard for that VCU Final Four team, and he is a color analyst for the ESPN Plus broadcast as well. Man, Bones Highland will be in attendance. He averaged I did not realize he averaged just about 20 points per game his second year with VCU. Didn't get over 1,000 points scored, but he was like a supernova, right? Yeah, Shine Bones, bright, not very long.
Yeah, Bones is an automatic bucket. So yeah, him leaving and going to the league and stuff. I think. The NBA, we don't talk about it a lot because it's not the NFL, but they do a whole lot of, I need you to fit into this system rather than conforming systems to players. And I think Bones has been a victim of that.
Because when he gets his opportunities to shine,
when he gets his opportunities, he's double digits, he's a walking bucket. So yeah. And I'm not hyping him up because he's a VCU guy.
No,
I'm legit. Like
he was one of the best mid-major basketball players for the 2 years. I mean, when he was a freshman, he was playing 21 minutes per game. That is fantastic for a freshman. Then his sophomore year, he was playing 32 minutes per game, just sat for 8 minutes. And then, unfortunately, that was the season VCU got COVID right before March Madness, so they didn't get to play in the NCAA tournament.
He was supposed to play Oregon.
Yep. And so, like, he never, I think, got the national recognition that he should have. Like, if he had played in that March Madness,
he would have lit Oregon
gone
up
for 45.
Yeah, I don't know how far they would have made it, but he would have lit Oregon up.
Well, if there's one thing I know about Bones Highland, the dude has not met a shot he does not like taking. He's shot over 10 times in every single game his sophomore year but one, and he shot 9 in that game.
Yeah, no,
he was a baller.
I'm with it because again, green light when he's on the court,
big time green light. All right, let's get a quick break in here. We'll step aside. We'll be back with more news or snooze here on this Tuesday morning.
WorkZone is the one-stop shop for the hardworking man and woman. When it comes to the biggest selection, WorkZone has it. Over 15 brands of boots in all toe types, even boots for the ladies. WorkZone has jackets in stock for all seasons, from cold weather to lightweight. See why WorkZone will be your first and only stop for the best brands and comfort and workwear. And a gift card from WorkZone is always the perfect gift. Visit WorkZone on Temple Avenue, next to the Ford dealership, WorkZoneVA.com, and check them out on Instagram and Facebook.
Get ready for a slam dunk experience as the Atlantic 10 Women's Basketball Championship returns to the Henrico Sports and Event Center March 4th through the 8th. Witness the intensity and feel the excitement as 14 teams battle for the title and a shot in the NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament. Join us for 5 days of nonstop action and unforgettable moments. Get your tickets now at Atlantic10.com/tickets and be part of the championship experience as March Madness comes to Henrico. We'll see you on the court.
This is advertising material.
Injured in an Uber or Lyft? Here's the problem. Was it the driver's fault? The other car? The app company? Good luck figuring that out while you're trying to heal. Alexander Shinar Trial Attorneys, they've got a guy for rideshare accidents. And here's the best part. They don't get paid unless you do. You heal. They fight. One call, 877-222-6666. Or visit alexwins.law. Alexander Shinar Trial Attorneys. Because rideshare accidents need an experienced team.
This is advertising material. Past results do not guarantee future outcomes. Every case is different. Philip George is licensed attorney in Virginia, is responsible for legal work. Office located in Norfolk.
1061 ESPN on-air interviews presented by the Herman Allen Plumbing Heating and Cooling Hotline with Lennox products that make the air in your home absolutely perfect.
Bonaire Shell is family owned and operated and has been serving the Richmond community for over 20 years. At Bonaire Shell, you'll find old school service with modern day technology, and our certified technicians will get you back on the road in no time. Stop by for a quick fill up, shop for new tires, ask us about a check engine light, or let us help with any of your auto service needs. Find us at 8762 Huguenot Road near the historic Bonaire section of Southside and online at bonaireshell.com.
All Americans should do what they can to prepare for the future. Donald Trump Jr. here with an important message. More and more Americans are looking for ways to diversify their hard-earned money, and gold is the perfect solution. For example, a gold IRA from my trusted friends at the Birch Gold Group lets you diversify your IRA or 401k into physical gold with zero taxes and zero penalties. You stay in control with a tangible asset that's held value for thousands of years. And right now, Birch Gold is offering a free info kit to help you understand how it works. Just text the word SECURE, SECURE, to 989898. There's no pressure, no obligation, just the facts. You can't predict the future, but you can be prepared, but only if you educate yourself. So take that first step right now. Text SECURE to the number 989898 today. That's SECURE to 989898.
Hi, Leif Erickson for SnowCountry.com, sponsored by Cricket. Prioritize your self-care and switch to Cricket for unlimited plans starting at $35 a month. Smile, you're on Cricket. Just think, a couple of weeks ago, we were telling you how to stay warm on the slopes. This week, it's all about not overdoing the layers. It's comfortable out there, spring-like temperatures, especially once we hit lunchtime. That means well-groomed trails that start on the faster, firmer side soften up nicely. Massanutten good to go with all 23 trails and 12 tubing chutes, providing plenty of downhill fun. Bryce Resort with all 12 trails locked in, cruising until 4:30 this afternoon. And the Homestead with half a dozen well-covered runs with plenty of groomed corduroy stripes. Winter Green set to go with 27 trails, all mountain areas wide open. Wisp, Maryland featuring 28 trails, while West Virginia brings us Snowshoe in 57 runs. Some fun steeps in the Western Territory. Timberline, all 21 runs, including their steep White Lightning. More at snowcountry.com. Leif Erickson for 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
106.1 ESPN weather.
It's currently 36 degrees and cloudy with some scattered showers throughout the area. Coming in from the south, we're feeling a slight breeze averaging about 4 miles per hour with gusts up to 10 miles per hour. I'm expecting a mix of clouds and sunshine today with a high reaching 59 degrees and lows tonight dropping down to only 48. Temperatures will be warmer this week with highs in the 60s and rain pushing in on Thursday and Friday.
Coming up on the Tuesday edition of the Sports Huddle, we'll talk to UVA assistant Darius Diaz, who will be honored at the Siegel Center along with his 2011 Final Four teammates. We'll also get you set for Virginia Tech versus Miami 4 until 6, 106.1 ESPN.
We don't wait to react. We lead the conversation.
And what it means next.
The Sports Huddle with Bob and Matt, weekdays 4 to 6.
News, or snooze.
News or snooze today? College basketball.
This is college basketball. Let's go.
Great. No, this is great because it's perfect time of year to do this. Nate Heiss fuels number 6 Iowa State's win over number 2 Houston.
Newsworthy.
All right, wait, real quick before you start.
Okay, you have a take here.
I'm gonna push back that this is more newsworthy on the Houston side than the Iowa State side.
Ooh, okay. I think it's for both, but okay, go ahead.
I say that reason because I have a theory, and I hate to do this to the one Cougar fan that's in our area. But
are you gonna? Oh no!
I think Houston, as a basketball program in college, is the equivalent.
Oh no!
Of the Buffalo Bills in football.
Oh,
I'm telling you, I just knew no matter what happened last night, no matter how well they started, because they started the game shooting 60%, that in the end they would find a way to lose this game, no matter what. They will never erase what happened to them last year in the national championship. They are officially doomed as a team that just will never win a championship, no matter how good they are, no matter what they put out on the floor. When it's time to must win, they will lose.
I don't hate that take because they feel like a team every year that is like the advanced analytics love them. They're always like a top 3 team in KenPom, the net, everything. They're one of the top teams in the nation. And every year they find new ways to lose when it matters most.
Did you see they had a
10-point lead in that second half, right?
Yeah. I think they're 2 for 26 now because they lost last night.
Against AP top 10.
Top 6
Top
teams.
6?
Yeah, top 6 teams.
That's not good.
I have a friend who is actually, he lives in Houston. He's an actual Houston Cougars fan. He was like, well, we haven't always had good teams. I'm like, sir, when you're playing the number 6 team, I was like, probably 75% of the time you've had a good team.
Well, also they've had a good team the last decade.
Yeah.
Like they have been good for a long time, and they aren't consistent. They're not consistent winners.
How long did NIL extend Sampson's career?
How long?
Yeah, because every step of the way when there was rules, he was breaking them.
His career.
He's one of the original bad boys.
Not coaching. Resurgence, but resurrection, I guess you could say, in Houston. Like, I feel like there's a large portion of college basketball fans that forget Kelvin Sampson and all of his like prior transgressions.
Yeah, he's an all-time great.
And then he got to Houston and everyone like forgot about like all of the rule violations that had followed him everywhere. He was kind of like Calipari.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Calipari leaves Memphis.
Cal had that umbrella with Kentucky, but Calipari at Memphis definitely didn't have the umbrella.
That's why he left Memphis.
And it's funny because even when they talk about him on air, like when they show like his accolades and things
Sampson
like that,
or Calipari?
Sampson.
Yeah.
Very rare. It's very rare, I feel like, that they actually bring up the
No,
bad
they
stuff
never
anymore.
do. It's just always like, look at how good of a coach he is. Houston's got a good one. And you're like, why is he at Houston again? And you're like, oh, that's right. Because he broke so many rules. He like took a leave of absence from coaching for like 4 years.
And
right?
also, as a college basketball fan, I want to apologize to everybody listening. I did miss the anniversary of our guy, John Chaney, telling Calipari he would kick his you-know-what, which was February 13th. I love when they replay that. It's one of my favorite videos. You mentioned Cal, and I thought about that, and I was like, we missed the anniversary.
But just a couple. We'll get it next year.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get it in 2020.
Love college basketball.
The Iowa State side of this, though, real quick, since you took the Houston side, I'll go the Iowa State side.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa State feels like a team that has been knocking on the door of being nationally relevant for, I don't know. I mean, really, since TJ Otzelberger got there, Otzelberger has been extremely, extremely effective as the head coach at Iowa State. He got there in 2022. I feel like, and I know this might be me just completely overreacting to one game, but that is a huge home win. You overcome a massive deficit. You play clutch basketball down the stretch, and it sets you up real nicely for these final 5 games of the season. I mean, Iowa State feels like a team that's been knocking on the door of national relevancy, and now this was their chance to maybe kick down the door and get in there. They've made the Sweet 16 twice under TJ Otzelberger. First round exit in 23, a second round exit last year. I think they can finally push through and get to the Elite Eight or potentially even further now. And this is a game you can look back on and hang your hat on.
No, for sure. And I will give Iowa State credit. this team to me this year seems grittier than the other teams. That was a gritty win last night because, again, Houston came out like throwing haymakers. They took the best punches. They had to fight back to get in, get it within striking distance. And then down the stretch, even the clutch shot by Nate towards the end of the game, all that was based on them just kind of staying in the moment and willing themselves to victory. The only thing that brings you pause when you look at Iowa State is just how good they are at home.
Yeah, they're so bad. Not so bad away, but all three of their losses this year are away from home.
And that always will be a scary thing if you're trying to back them to go to the Final Four. You got to be able to win on the road.
They've got to get a really favorable draw, too. Yeah. And 3 of their final 5 games this season are on the road, at BYU, at Utah, at Arizona. And then their 2 home games are Texas Tech and Arizona State. Also worth mentioning, Nate Heiss, the guy who hit the clutch 3, his sister scored in the USA women's hockey match earlier in the day.
Oh, yeah. The Heiss family is balling. I think they mentioned that on the broadcast.
Probably.
Number 2, Michigan supplants Arizona as number 1 in the men's basketball poll.
Snoozeworthy.
Yes.
I don't want to poo-poo the AP top 25 too much, but it really does not matter.
I don't want to poo-poo the AP top 25 too much, but it's usually a black eye. Like when you get number 1,
get that too, you're going to lose. So look at Arizona. They were top the AP top 25 for so long, and then this last week they just
stumbled. Holding it for I think 9 weeks was impressive. Yeah, because every time, man.
Well, they held it for so long that their stumble was that much worse.
Yeah,
right. Like you held it for so long, and then you lose to Kansas, and then you lose to Texas Tech at home in overtime. And it's like,
they're lucky BYU had a major injury in their backcourt. Otherwise, they might be in trouble there, too.
Yeah, so I think Arizona, the shine's coming off of them a little bit. And for Michigan, that was the team. We had an overreaction Monday, like 3 weeks ago. I think I said Michigan was my team to win the national championship. So I am a little worried.
Did I push back on that?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, all right. Because I was going to say, if it was earlier in the season, I pushed back. I'm not going to lie, man. I'm turning the corner, too. I'm like, I don't know who's going to beat them. Maybe they can beat themselves.
Never wrong, just early. Maybe the thing that'll beat them is being number 1 in the AP top 25.
It's definitely a black eye. Now, with Arizona, I know everybody, and we could have added this to Overreaction Monday. Everybody wants to think the sky is falling when you lose some games in February. Again, like Bob said, like we've said, February is so tough to win basketball games.
Just win your games.
And in their case, some of the games that they've lost, I think both of the games they've lost have been pretty competitive. One of them was just like the ball just didn't bounce your way.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen. They have a tough schedule. They have a very tough schedule. But I know I have a friend who's a Florida Gator fan. He called me last night and was like, "We want to get Arizona again." I was like, "You don't." They're still still a really good, deep team. But based on their draw, I think when it's all said and done, they'll be the most battle-tested team and ready team come March.
Yes, 1,000%.
UConn projected as 1 seed and just 3 Big East teams in latest bracket from Joe Lunardi.
Newsworthy. For this reason, the Big East talked a real big game about how they didn't have football, kind of similar to the Atlantic 10, who's kind of a 1-bid league right now as well. These 2 teams got granted different levels in the college basketball kind of stratosphere. One's a high major elite level conference. One's a very good mid-major conference, but both talked this big game that we don't have football schools. All of our schools are basketball first, and they're going to put all of their money in basketball. And actually in this rev share NIL era, this is going to benefit us more than it is any other conference. And the Big Ten sat back, cracked its knuckles and said, watch this. And the Big Ten has been dominant. The SEC sat back, said, watch this. The Big East talked a big game about it, and that has not worked out that way. And they're having right now, according to the latest bracket from Joe Lunardi, just 3 teams in the field. It's UConn as a 1 seed. St. John's, I believe, is a 5 to a 7. And then Villanova in there as well. So, like, Big East is really kind of fallen on its face.
Maybe I'm just a Villanova hater, I guess. Just never like any of their teams, man.
Well, they're kind of like, they play, I don't mean to be rude when I say this. It feels like they just kind of play ugly basketball.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely are a team that wins. And that's like no style points needed for them. They just win. But I think UConn and St. John's got one more game, I want to say.
UConn's got a game left with Villanova, and UConn's got a game left with St. John's.
Yeah. So that'll decide.
Decide the Big East regular season, a lot of seeding.
Yeah.
Implications, but it's funny.
St. John's just needs to protect their net when they drive to the basket, and they'll be all right. But St. John's already they have that win over UConn earlier.
But the Big East, this is more so just a commentary on the Big East, man. Like, you talk the big game and it's just not working out for you. You need your teams to get more. I don't know how you fix it. Same with the A10.
I know how to fix the Big East. For the Big East, they got to stop hiring people because they were linked to the programs. And I'm looking at Georgetown, although they didn't this time, but still they need to make a better hire. Seton Hall's coaches and talent got poached. Xavier, again, you went with Miller and it lasted, a season? I mean, if Miller was still there, it'd probably be great. They'd probably be a top 25 team. But guess what?
They went with young Rick, right?
Yeah. You always knew Miller was on his way out. And Baby Patino's done a decent job with them. I think he'll turn the corner, but you got to keep him, right? Marquette's probably the most disappointing team. Yeah. All things considered.
Sorry, Shaka.
I know I love Shaka, but yeah, it stinks. And how's Villanova unranked and getting a 7?
Because they're the 26th best team in KenPom, apparently.
26th best team in KenPom. How do you figure that out?
Yeah, Marquette, hugely disappointing. Going to be the first time Shaka Smart does not make the NCAA tournament.
Watch you do a magical run.
Watch you go. They're going to be playing every round of the Big East tournament into the first 4, and then they're going to go on another Final Four run, and it's going to be 15-year anniversary.
That would be insane if he did that. But I'm definitely not. My expectations are not that for them.
No, I think they'll probably be it's a bummer of a year for Shaka.
But also think about it, man. Big East used to have a lot of pride.
Used to mean something.
Yeah, in their basketball. And I know they talk the big game. Oh, we're a basketball
we're basketball,
etc. But it just doesn't give that same vibe. I see it when St. John's plays. I see it when UConn plays. I hate to see it when Villanova plays, but it seems like it's just those 3 teams. Like Butler's no more.
Providence is no more.
Done.
DePaul's never been.
DePaul's basically LaSalle. And I mean, that's what they've been to that conference.
Yeah. But so many of the teams so much history in that conference, and so much of the history in the conference is falling on its face time and time again. And maybe they'll figure it out, but based off of the recent track record, they have not figured it out. Marquette is actually one of the few teams, I believe I heard this correctly on a broadcast. Marquette's one of the few teams, maybe the only team in the nation that does not have a transfer on its roster.
Well, that's setting yourself up for failure.
Something like that, where they haven't hit the transfer portal that hard.
Yeah,
so
that's not a good
That's going to be something they're going to have to really focus on.
Now, my next question is, are they spending the money?
To keep their players, to retain them?
No, are the schools in the Big East spending money?
Yeah, I mean,
outside of obviously UConn is.
UConn is. I think Villanova even is. I think the teams that are at the top of the conference are. I think the Villanova, St. John's, and UConn's are. Villanova spent a pretty penny on Bryce Lindsey this offseason, who was the reigning sixth man of the year in the Sun Belt. He's gone over there. He's been a huge time contributor for Villanova. I know they paid a pretty penny for him. I know St. John's has got a good little bankroll going. UConn, of course, too. But you then look down and you say, why isn't Marquette playing well? They probably didn't open up the pocketbook as much as these other schools. Spending is a direct corollary to winning games in today's college landscape, as unfortunate as it is. Spending and finding the right players. It's 2 things you got to do correctly. Let's go to the text line real quick. The Radkey Insurance phone line, 804-327-0888. Head to radkeyinsurance.com to get started on your free quote today. This is going all the way back to when we were chatting about the Dolphins' flurry of offseason moves. Texter said, Tyreek back to KC? Could it be? I think that is the second most plausible landing spot for Tyreek Hill this offseason. Number 1 is the Buffalo Bills, because the Buffalo Bills desperately, and I mean desperately, need a weapon or 2 for Josh Allen. That's no shade to Khalil Shakur, but he's a very good slot guy. He's not a vertical threat.
Listen,
Keon Coleman's not what you thought he was.
When you're getting a receiver for Josh Allen, you need to think catch radius. That's the number 1 priority for him. He was so much better with Diggs because when Diggs was obviously not injured, but the catch radius, he could catch anything thrown in a general area. Shakur and Tyreek Hill are some tiny guys,
yes,
man.
but Tyreek Hill can at least open things up a little bit more. Shakur's not doing that as much.
I don't even know if they even care about opening things up in Buffalo.
I think you need weapons for Josh Allen right now, and he has no weapons.
Yeah, we can agree on that.
Like,
besides my guy Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah, when he's out on the field.
Look, can't help his health.
So you need something for Josh Allen, and Tyreek Hill fits that. Do they have the cap space? Not as much. A team that does have the cap space, the Los Angeles Chargers, that's another fun one. Another guy to open things up. Of course, you need an offensive line, though, to hold their blocks long enough for a deep ball to get developed. The real question around Tyreek is how healthy is he going to be? Who is willing to take that gamble? And I think with all the off-the-field issues with Tyreek Hill, because there is a lot of them, plus this pretty devastating injury where he destroyed his knee at age, 31, 32, this is a huge gamble. And so I believe there's not going to be that much of a market for Tyreek Hill. I think a lot of teams would rather pass on him and say, you know what? If he succeeds elsewhere, good for him. Let's have someone else take that gamble. I'm not taking that gamble. That's how I see it playing out.
He's talented enough. I think people would still take a chance on him. I think with the Daniel Jones, you would ask those questions and be like, is he healthy enough? I think the commitment at wide receiver, the cost of it all, I don't think it'll reach that point where they would be like, I'm not going to take a flyer on him because he might be hurt. You're looking at probably a third of the cost of what he would have been coming off this injury, especially if you're a team like Kansas City. He would want to come back to Kansas City.
He was making about $30 million this past year with the Miami Dolphins. Do you expect that to check in at around the $20 million mark? If it's $20 million, you taking him?
Yeah, if it's $20 million, I would take him.
Really?
I'm not afraid to take a flyer on a receiver like that. You just make sure you're not stuck with a lot of money long term. You give him a contract that if it's not that great, he can be cut.
Yeah, give him essentially a 1-year prove-it deal with essentially a team option on the second part of it. See if he takes that. The Chiefs probably make the most sense from just a dollars and cents standpoint, from a scheme fit, everything like that, because Bieniemy, of course, is back as the offensive coordinator, and Bieniemy made Tyreek Hill shine back in the 2020, 2021, 22 season. Then Tyreek left to go with the Miami Dolphins in that trade. Since Tyreek has left, since 2023, the Chiefs' passing offense has not been anywhere near as lethal as it was with Tyreek. They've ranked around 10th in the NFL in drop back EPA and drop back success rate over the last 2 seasons. So bringing him back would be an infusion of talent if he's healthy, if he's able to take care of his off the field stuff. There's a lot of ifs around Tyreek Hill. I worry that if it's more than $20 million a year, he's just not worth it. Just maybe you bake in a lot of incentives in his contract, but that leg injury, man, that is a huge, I think he tore his ACL, PCL, MCL, and he dislocated his knee. That could be a potentially career ender. You've got to bake in a contract that has a ton of incentives, so you're not on the hook for a guy who can't play in week 5 because of an injury. That is the biggest worry with Tyreek Hill. The Bills, for me, should go out and get him. You need dynamic weapons for Josh Allen. You don't have them. The Chiefs make a lot of sense. That reunion would help reinvigorate a Chiefs offense that's been a little quiet over the last couple of seasons. And the Chargers, give Justin Herbert another toy. They're probably going to lose Keenan Allen this offseason. And they've got a lot of cap space to play with, over $75 million in cap space. You can afford to overpay just a little bit on Tyreek. Stick with us. We've got a fantastic second hour college basketball heavy coming up right here on Fitz the Bill this Tuesday morning.
Are you suffering from a sports injury, chronic pain, or something that just plain hurts? Ortho Virginia can help get you on the road to recovery. As the state's largest provider of orthopedic care, Ortho Virginia's team of specialists offers surgical and non-surgical treatment options. With 12 offices conveniently located in the Richmond area, visit orthovirginia.com or call 804-915-1910 to discover why at Ortho Virginia, stronger starts here.
Jeff's day is off to a slow start. So he heads to AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. where Sammy, a local autos owner, tests his battery for free. It looks like he just needs a charge, and Sammy does that for free too. In no time at all, Jeff is back on the road, ready to finish the day strong. Free battery testing and charging at every store. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone.
Restrictions apply.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed, plus free home delivery with any bed and base. Ends Monday. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
Who's ready for RVA's first big street festival of the year? Shamrock the Block is back, celebrating 20 years of Richmond's most legendary St. Patrick's Day street party on Saturday, March 14th, 2026, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Join us as Lay Street, Midtown Green, and DMV Drive turn into a massive high-energy festival filled with live music all day. 100-plus food, crafts, specialty, and professional vendors. Cold drinks, more bathrooms, beer trucks, fun, and Irish cheer. Shamrock the Block, Saturday, March 14th. Go to shamrocktheblock.com for more info.
Your home for Richmond Spiders athletics all year round. W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV HD2 Richmond. We are 1061 ESPN.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
We said it all season long. This was perhaps the easiest path, and that Josh Allen and company had no excuses. Here's a team that is in your division that you have reigned over. They have an amazing season. They get to the Super Bowl, and then they have that type of performance. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills had to watch that game kicking themselves that they didn't get it done this season.
Unsportsmanlike. Weekday mornings starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2. Hey, did you miss Clinton and friends?
The Browns finally made a hire. Todd Monken is the new head coach. He will be leading Cleveland next season. And I got to say, even in a hiring cycle in which Mike McCarthy replaced Mike Tomlin, the Browns have found a way to do something even more underwhelming and more disappointing than even that.
Clinton and friends. Weekdays from 10 to noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Amber and Ian. It's a literal sheet of ice in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We don't know how to deal with it.
The South continuously acts like this never happens. Dallas is one of those cities. Atlanta's another one, right? Dallas is one of those cities. This never happens here. We don't know how to deal with it. It feels like Dallas needs to come around to the idea that this does in fact happen every once in a while.
Amber and Ian. Weeknights at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio. And Ian.
Dan Orlovsky revealed on Unsportsmanlike that he had an offensive coordinator fall asleep during a game. Michael is calling us from South Carolina.
Just basically learn how to sleep and drive and think at the same time. You just got to be a light sleeper. Don't sleep hard. That's all.
How does one ensure
people are driving tanks and they're sleeping?
Amber and Ian. Weeknights at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on Sirius XM Channel 80.
The second hour of Fitz the Bill is brought to you by Birdie Golf. Tired of paying premium prices for big-name golf balls that overpromise and underdeliver? Step up your game with Birdie Golf. Learn more about a local company at birdiegolf.com. Change out the I's for ones, and you're there. That's B1RD1E golf.com. Birdie Golf.
You're listening to the second hour of Fitz the Bill on 1061 ESPN.
Welcome in hour number 2 of Fitz the Bill on this Tuesday, February 17th morning. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, Alan alongside. Appreciate you clocking in, making us part of your morning. You can be part of the show by calling or texting in to the Radke Insurance phone line, 804-327-0888. You can also be part of the show by heading over to Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, typing in ESPN Richmond. We'll pop right on up and you can watch the stream live and you can like, comment, and subscribe to it. To kick us off in hour number 2, which is a loaded hour, Ed Nixon. He was a guard on the VCU Final Four team from 2011 and currently serves as the color analyst on the ESPN Plus VCU broadcast. He'll be joining at about 9:15. Matt Wyrick, he's the Orioles beat writer for the Baltimore Sun, and he's currently the co-host for the newly launched Early Birds podcast. He'll be joining at about 9:30 to chat about the Orioles heading into the season. He's down there in Sarasota for spring training, so we'll have Matt Wyrick stop on by. But to kick us off in hour number 2, we're joined by Jay Butler, the Virginia Union men's basketball head coach. Union in the midst of a 23-3 season. Their only losses this year came in the season opener, and their 2 conference losses came against 2 of the best teams in the CIAA, Bluefield State and Fayetteville State, both on the road. Union has been perfect inside of Barco Stevens Hall over there on campus, and they've got a massive showdown tomorrow against Bluefield State, and they finish out the regular season on the road against Virginia State in a nationally televised game on HBCU Go, finishing out with an intense rivalry before they head up to Baltimore for the CIAA tournament. Bluefield State and Virginia State, both teams right behind them in the CIAA North. So huge final 2 games of the season for Union. So we caught up with head coach Jay Butler, talk about the season so far, how he's gotten out to a 23-3 season, and what it's like playing with a number next to your name as Union ranked 22nd, I believe, in the latest NABC Top 25. We caught up with Jay Butler. Fitz the Bill rolling right along this morning on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, joined now Jay Butler, head coach of the men's basketball team over at Virginia Union. Union in the midst of an impressive 23-3 season, 2 regular season games left, 1 against Bluefield State, 1 against Virginia State before they head up to Baltimore for the CIAA tournament. Coach, appreciate you taking some time out of your day to chat with us. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I want to start here. 23-3. You guys are on a heater, ranked in the latest NABC Top 25 as well as you have been, or at least receiving votes for about the last month and a half or so. Coming into this season, was this the expectation you had for the squad?
I knew coming into this season, we had a group of guys that got a lot of experience last year because we had so many of our guys had season-ending injuries last year. Taj Harding sat out last year with an injury, and so we lost a lot of guys to injuries, and we got those guys back, and we had kids like Bobby Gardner who ended up being Rookie of the Year, and we lost Madre Harris who potentially was going to be the Rookie of the Year before he had an ACL injury. So to get those guys back and get close to 100%, and with the experience of the guys like Bobby Gardner, Malachi Dark, Noah Richardson-Keys, those guys got valuable experience on that 16-win team. I knew we had a chance to be pretty good this year. And, our goals every year at Virginia Union is to go out and win 20 games and compete for the Northern Division and ultimately play on Saturday night for CIAA championship.
And you guys are competing pretty well in the CIAA in the North right now. Currently sit atop the division, best overall CIAA record, best mark in CIAA North action specifically as well. But your last 2 games of the season against Bluefield State and against Virginia State are against the teams that are right behind you in the standings. How important is it, of course, to finish out with wins, but also to have these types of games, these high caliber games before going into the CIAA tournament?
They're very important. Anytime you go down to Bluefield, and they beat us pretty good down at Bluefield. So to get the opportunity to play them in the Barco on senior night and give us another opportunity to get one game closer to winning the North. And then we move on to Saturday to play our rival, Virginia State, and we had the opportunity to play them early in the year, and we had a really, really good game offensively and defensively. But, since then they haven't lost a game. So we got 2 tough games going into the tournament, and you always want to go into the tournament playing well. So right now we're just trying to take it one game at a time, and we know we're getting everyone's A game. Once you get to 23 wins, and you're ranked in the country and you're top in the North, and you're one of the top teams in the region, everyone's, is coming at you with their A game. So I'm telling the kids, we got to be locked in and stay focused. And, these are tournament-like games coming down the stretch.
And you guys, with that number next to your name, with 23 wins under your belt already, a lot of teams have come inside the Barco and have given you the best shot that they can possibly take at you. How have you guys responded to that through this kind of middle to end part of the season?
It's been tough. It's been tough because we got a lot of young guys that are playing good minutes, and they trying to figure it out on the fly. And some days you just the ball's not dropping for us. And Bowie State, we had a bad free throw shooting game, but I tell them we can control the effort. And, on the defensive end, at one point in time, we were number 1 in the country in defense and top 10 in a few other categories defensively. So we take pride on the defensive end. And, I tell them, let's get consecutive stops. And, we'll figure out a way on the offensive end. But we preach defense. And, ultimately, defense wins championships.
Coach Jay Butler, Virginia Union, joining us this morning. And Coach, I want to see how much pride you really take in the defense. Would you rather win a game 45-40 or say 85-75?
Hey, if we defending and we can hold someone, our goal is to keep them under 60. So a 45-40 game, I know I'm excited about our defense. I probably was a little frustrated with scoring, but we're probably preaching keep working hard on the defensive end because, to hold a team on the college level to 40 points, for the game is pretty good. So I will take a 45-40 as long as we get the W.
Hey, Coach, I appreciate that answer because sometimes I'll ask a coach that who says they preach defense, things like that, and they'll answer with the high-scoring game. So it's like, I don't know how much you do pride yourself on defense, but I appreciate that answer. You mentioned a couple of names earlier on when we were talking, Bobby Gardner, Malachi Dark, Noah Richardson-Keys. You guys recruit Richmond really well. KJ White, he hasn't played this season, but another guy that was a standout for you last year. How important is it to really defend the city of Richmond in terms of recruiting and get some of these high-end players to stay in Richmond and play for you guys?
It's very important because when I played at Virginia Union in the 90s, 92 to 96, I was blessed to play on some of the top teams that came through Virginia Union, and I played with a Warren Peebles product of Richmond. Went to John Marshall, Tim Davis, Adrian Ticky Hill, Tom Meredith. Those guys, all Richmond guys, and it just when you recruit your backyard. And you can take care of the Richmond area. And I mean, just the fan base. And so to get the opportunity to get Malachi Dark right down the street at John Marshall, you get a KJ Weiss from Rhino, who's a 2-time state player of the year. So those guys and Noah Richardson, that kid showed up on our doorstep and wanted the opportunity to play. And he's a Richmond kid. And he's been a pleasant surprise for us. And to see his family in the stands and just to see the support from the Richmond area that when we got local guys on the team. So it's huge. So all our top teams at Virginia Union always had Richmond guys that played pivotal roles in us winning championships.
Jay Butler, head coach for Virginia Union, joining us this morning. And Coach, you do have these 2 games left in the regular season, Bluefield State, Virginia State. What's it going to take for you guys to come away 2-0 in those games and really be hitting your stride going into the CIAA tournament?
I'm definitely going to be on the defensive end, just taking it one possession at a time. The guys are kind of feeling the pressure a little bit of 23 wins, and we just trying to tell them just to take it one game at a time, one possession at a time. And, they feel good playing at home at the Barco. We undefeated at the Barco, so we just try to get them to a place where they're comfortable. And it's senior night on Wednesday, and then you're playing your rival on Saturday. So it don't get better than playing Bluefield State for senior day, and then playing Virginia State, your rival. And it's a HBCU Go game on TV. So I think the kids are excited to finish strong.
How do you guys kind of handle that emotion? Because those are 2 very emotional games. Senior night and then a big-time rivalry game. Do you kind of lean into the emotion, or do you try to block it out for the players?
I try to block it out, but I know they're excited, excited for the seniors. And we talk about it today in practice and say, we definitely want to send our seniors out on a good note. But, it's definitely one of those things where, hey, you want the seniors to go out. You want them to go out and play well. But at the end of the day, you're still playing for the North. And Bluefield State is in the hunt. Virginia State is definitely in the hunt. So, each of these games down the stretch is very important, and it plays into the seeding going into the CIAA tournament.
It should be a fun one on Wednesday night against Bluefield State. Coach, appreciate your time. Good luck the rest of the way.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate Jay Butler taking some time out of his day to chat with us, the Virginia Union men's basketball head coach. The Panthers 23-3 this season. Their final home game of the 2025-26 season is tomorrow night against Bluefield State. It's senior night, and they've got a huge test. They lost to Bluefield State earlier this season, looking to get a little lick back here tomorrow as they look to finish out the season with 2 straight wins before they head up to Baltimore for the CIAA tournament. So appreciate head coach Jay Butler for taking some time to chat. We're going to get a break in, step aside. Ed Nixon, he was a guard on the VCU Final Four team from 2011, taking some time out of his morning to chat with us. Also color analyst on the ESPN Plus broadcast. He'll be on the other side of this break right here on Fitz the Bill on ESPN Richmond.
RVA Specialty Twist Pizza available only at West Cary Sports Bar, featuring tikka masala, butter chicken, or Mexican fajita pizzas. West Cary Sports Bar, online at westcarysportsbar.com.
The Atlantic 10 Women's Basketball Championship returns to the Henrico Sports and Event Center March 4th through the 8th. Get your tickets at Atlantic10.com/tickets to be part of the action. That's Atlantic10.com/tickets, and we'll see you on the court.
RVA's famous chicken and hog wild wings, specialty twist pizzas, and classic American bar food featured at West Cary Sports Bar, 2601 West Cary Street in the Fan. Online at westcarysportsbar.com.
From driveways to interstates, accidents happen fast. The insurance company's response? Here's our offer. Take it or leave it. Leave it. Call Alexander Shannara Trial Attorneys. Over 250,000 clients. And no, they don't accept lowball offers. They fight, they win. Over $2 billion recovered. Call now for a free consultation. 877-222-6666 or alexwins.law. Past results do not guarantee future outcomes. Every case is different. Phil George's licensed attorney in Virginia is responsible for legal work. Office is located at 500 East Main Street, Suite 1600-113, Norfolk, Virginia, 23510.
Coming up on the Tuesday edition of the Sports Huddle, we'll talk to UVA assistant Darius Diaz, who will be honored at the Siegel Center along with his 2011 Final Four teammates. We'll also get you set for Virginia Tech versus Miami 4 until 6, 106.1 ESPN.
Hey, Richmond, looking for more Fitz the Bill content and behind-the-scenes looks into the show? Well, follow us on Instagram at Fitz the Bill ESPN RVA. You'll get all of the clips, exclusive hot takes, and so much more. Follow us at Fitz the Bill ESPN RVA on Instagram. Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill on this Tuesday morning. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, Allen alongside. We are joined now by Ed Nixon, who's a guard on the VCU Final Four team back from 2011, being honored tonight, 15 years since that Final Four run. Ed, appreciate you taking some time out of your day to chat with us. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great as well. And I just want to kind of get your thoughts with Havoc Night tonight, large portion of that 2011 team being in attendance. Looking back over how the program has evolved over the last 15 years, and you can point directly to that Final Four run being a huge inflection point in it. What are your feelings looking back at the last 15 years for VCU men's basketball?
Just grateful. Grateful that me and my brothers were able to do something so important for the city, important for ourselves. Grateful that, we had such great coaches and leadership, from the AD all the way down to the head coach, to the assistant coaches, to the GAs. Sometimes it takes a little bit of luck, and it also takes chemistry, and we had a lot of that in 2011.
So take me back 15 years ago. In the middle of that run, right? At what point, if ever, did you guys realize you were on this magical Cinderella run that would be talked about for years to come?
I don't believe we thought like that. We just looked at the next thing we had to do, which was the next game. And we tried to just lock in and be as focused, but as relaxed as possible.
Ed Nixon, he was a guard on the VCU Final Four team from 2011, joining us this Tuesday morning ahead of Havoc Night tonight as VCU hosts George Washington. I want to kind of take a look at the team that you've got on the court this year. Do you see any similarities between the VCU team from 2011 and this Phil Martelli-led squad?
Well, the thing is, it's hard to have like I just spoke of chemistry.
Yeah.
It's hard to build the chemistry we had, especially with the NIL and transport portal that goes on. but outside of that, this team does have some fight and some dog within them, and that is a big key component to what we had. Now it's going to take some learning as the season goes on, and I think they've gotten better as they're on an 8-game win streak. But they score way better than us. If they can get their defense to match their scoring, then yeah, I can see them having a good run if they can make it in.
What was it about that defense that you guys had, the Havoc defense back in 2011, that gave so many blue blood programs so many issues in the tournament?
Well, it took us a while to actually get it. The idea of Havoc was there, but we had to do some maturing as players. And part of that was just our communication on the court just went to an all-time high during that run. And, you know, everything that Shaka really wanted to see came to fruition once everybody locked in 100%.
What were the changes that Coach Smart had from the Anthony Grant era into when he took over, and what was that, the 2009-2010 season? What were some of those changes, and then what was it in his second year that really helped take you guys to that next step?
Well, I think I always use this analogy when speaking of Coach Grant, or the change from Coach Grant to Shaka Smart. Coach Grant was a very militant, you know, stern kind of coach, you know what I mean? So he turned us into dogs. And when Shaka got there, he kind of just let us off the leash. So we were able to actually completely play our games, trust in each other, show our capabilities under Shaka. And I think, you know, Shaka was a very young coach his first year. He had some learning to do. And then also we had some maturing to do. And then, you know, with everything that we've been through, coaching changes, players leaving, having to pick up the pieces, everything just came to fruition, and we had to lean on each other. And when we did, and we trusted each other, you know, the basketball guys blessed us.
Ed Nixon, a guard from that VCU Final Four team back in 2011, being honored tonight at the Siegel Center for Havoc Night, 15 years since that magical run. I've got to ask a really important question here, Ed. Why the number 50? You don't see that all that often for players nowadays.
Well, I'm not going to lie. So I was one of the late signees of VCU. We had 7 guys coming. Me, Joey Rodriguez, Lance Kearse, Mick Brown, Brandon Rozelle, Kirill Pashalnikov, and Larry Sanders. All were freshmen the 2007 year. Actually, Kirill sat out, so he was going to be first year playing. But I asked for like 7 different numbers, and all of them were taken. So I was like, I referred back to a AAU tournament where I lost my jersey, and I had to pick a number. And I wasn't playing my best basketball, so I picked the ugliest number, and it actually changed how I was playing. So I was like, you know what? If it ever comes down to it, I'm gonna pick 50 again, and that's how it came about.
So then you just stuck with it your entire career. You're like, well, I've gotten to this point now with this number.
Right, exactly.
That's a great story on how you ended up with 50. I knew there had to be something there. It wasn't just like you were like, you know, I love the number 50. This is the one I'm going to pick up. I want to talk about a nickname that Coach Shaka Smart dubbed you and your backcourt mate Brandon Rozelle had, the Energy Brothers. How'd you get that nickname?
Well, me and Brandon, we both had a big chip on our shoulders, and we thought that we'd be playing, you know, more initially. So we had something to prove every time we came into the game. Brandon was more scoring, I was more defense, and we just went all out when we came into the game because we wanted to get more playing time and compete. So that's kind of how it came about when Shaka started looking at the film and seeing how much energy we brought to the floor, and if we weren't on our game, how much energy we were missing. He kind of dubs us that to also remind us, hey, this is what you guys need to do for this team to be successful.
Ed Nixon, he was a guard on the VCU Final Four team from 2011, taking some time out of his morning to chat with us. Looking at the George Washington team that's coming into the Siegel Center tonight, looking at the remainder of the schedule for VCU this season, It's a team that likely will have to beat St. Louis in the A-10 tournament. And I know coaches and players don't like looking ahead, but hey, we can look ahead. We can look to an A-10 tournament. What will it take, do you think, for this VCU squad to rattle off another win against St. Louis on the road and then another one in the A-10 tournament?
Well, it's going to take complete focus, and it's going to take them. They're going to have to take each game at a time. They can't look ahead, even though we can. They can't look ahead. St. Louis is a really good team. I've watched multiple games of theirs. They push the pace. As soon as they get a rebound, they're trying to score within the next 7 seconds. So you have to be locked into that. And then also they have a continuity, and they have this certain type of experience with their guys that they just play the right way. So we can't play a game with a lot of fat. We have to trim the fat and play a clean game to beat St. Louis twice.
And for the game tonight, what does it mean for you guys kind of all to come together, everyone that could come together for the game to kind of relive the memories from 15 years ago, be honored, everything like that? What does it mean for you guys to come together?
Man, it means the world because we were able to do something that, nobody else from VCU could do. And then the blessing within that is building bonds that you'll have for eternity. So it's a true blessing. I can't wait to see some of the guys I haven't seen in years. Other guys I keep in touch with. Some guys can visit from time to time, but it's going to be really nice to have everybody back together and just have that camaraderie.
Awesome. We look forward to it, Ed. Appreciate your time. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy the game tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course, there goes Ed Nixon, guard on the VCU Final Four team from 2011, serves as the color analyst on ESPN Plus VCU broadcast as well. Appreciate him taking some time out of his morning to chat with us about what that team meant for VCU, for himself from 2011. Man, what a run it was back then. I mean, they took down teams like USC, Georgetown, Purdue, Florida State, the 1 seed, Kansas. Kind of felt fitting that the run ended against Butler, of all teams, another kind of mid-major plucky underdog type of guy.
It was not fitting. That whack Butler team.
Okay, yeah, well, you know what I mean. You know what they both teams took down blue bloods on their way. Both teams took down dominant programs, but man, havoc lives here. That has been a calling card of VCU for the last decade and a half.
Yeah, no, they were trendsetters, and Ed and those guys should really feel proud of the legacy that they've left. Extends beyond the actual Final Four run, and it's kind of inspired the expectations that we have now for the VCU program.
1,000%. And shout out to Ed Nixon, because not only did he do it just on the team, but he did it in the number 50.
Yeah, I mean, did it in a lineman number.
That is a number that you should not be seen in a backcourt of all places.
Are you kidding me? If people can wear Skechers, you can be number 50.
Okay. All right. Julius Randle didn't need that shot.
Not respect. I don't care.
Let's get a quick break in. On the other side, Matt Wyrick, he's the Orioles beat writer for the Baltimore Sun. He'll be joining us this Tuesday morning. He's also the co-host of the newly launched Early Birds podcast. But he'll be joining us from Sarasota, Florida, as the Orioles have begun spring training. We'll get a kind of vibe check from down there in the Sunshine State. That's coming up on the other side.
Get ready for a slam dunk experience as the Atlantic 10 Women's Basketball Championship returns to the Henrico Sports and Event Center March 4th through the 8th. Witness the intensity and feel the excitement as 14 teams battle for the title and a shot in the NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament. Join us for 5 days of nonstop action and unforgettable moments. Get your tickets now at Atlantic10.com/tickets and be part of the championship experience as March Madness comes to Henrico. We'll see you on the court. Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis. Only $59.99 guaranteed or your money back. Thursday, February 26th, Comfort Suites at Virginia Center Commons in Glen Allen. Weight loss hypnosis 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking 8 p.m. Or Saturday, February 28th, Hilton Garden Inn in Colonial Heights. Weight loss hypnosis 11 a.m. Stop smoking 2 p.m. Come 30 minutes early.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-960-3377. That's 800-960-3377. 800-960-3377.
Stop by Parlay Bar and Lounge, the preeminent sports bar in the Mid-Atlantic, next door to Grabo Sports Cards and Scott's Edition. For lunch, happy hour, dinner, or for the electric experience of watching your favorite team play. We run trivia on Wednesday nights, live music every Friday, and we have unique, interesting programming such as live wrestling, pro boxing, or one of our legendary parking lot parties. Learn more about our lunch club and our daily food specials at parlayrva.com.
This is the sound of love. This is the sound of love.
I love you.
This is not the sound of love. Since February is the month of love, let Robinson's Plumbing help you show your happy home some love with an annual maintenance plan. It comes with a free plumbing inspection on any pipe, drain, or fixture that can be seen or touched for free. Not only do you get that free inspection, you receive 15% off all repairs and replacements all year long. And because love should be long-term and not just a one-time thing, you'll enjoy preferred response time for appointments and priority for emergency service. That's a lot of assurance for little money. It's no wonder Robinson's Plumbing Service has been voted the Richmond area's best plumbing service. People love them. You will too. Plumbing problems are never convenient. Show your home love with an annual maintenance plan from Robinson's Plumbing Service. Call 804-794-0918 or schedule your first date now at robinsonsplumbingservice.com.
Bon Air Shell has been serving the RVA community for 20 plus years, providing service with a smile and technicians you can trust. Family owned and operated, 8762 Huguenot Road.
Nearly 20 million Americans have age-related macular degeneration, but that doesn't mean vision loss is inevitable. February is AMD Awareness Month. American Society of Retina Specialists President Dr. Jeff Emerson shares what you need to know about AMD to protect your vision.
Detecting AMD early before irreversible damage occurs is critical. So protect your vision by receiving regular dilated eye exams. Next, watch for common AMD symptoms, including straight lines appearing warped or wavy, blurred central vision, and difficulty seeing in dim light.
Advances in early detection and new treatments have transformed AMD into a more manageable condition for many.
We're in an exciting new era for AMD, with treatments that can slow AMD progression, prevent vision loss, and even improve vision. Retina specialists are the most qualified experts to diagnose AMD and develop a personalized treatment plan for patients with the condition.
Visit findyourretinaspecialist.org.
A duo that's perfect together. That's Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating and Cooling, and Lennox. Herman Allen is your local Lennox dealer, and they're committed to making your family's home comfort their top priority. With a wide assortment of Lennox products to offer, Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling will ensure your home's air is perfect for your family. Call today at 804-746-5853 or visit online at hermanallenplumbing.com to learn more about how you can experience expert service and care.
This is advertising material. Our highways have become hunting grounds. The Predators, 18-wheelers, 80,000-pound killing machine sharing the road with your family. Semi-truck doesn't need to be speeding to destroy your life. At just 30 miles per hour, a fully loaded big rig can crush a car like a soda can. Your airbags, your seatbelts, they weren't built for that. Alexander Shinar Trial Attorneys knows trucking companies cut corners on maintenance, push drivers past legal limits, and hire underqualified operators. You shouldn't pay the price. If you've been injured in a trucking accident, call Alexander Shinar Trial Attorneys. You're not just fighting a driver, you're fighting billion-dollar corporations, an army of lawyers. Alexander Shinar Trial Attorneys have thrived over the years by taking on the trucking industry. They fight harder. They win bigger. Alexander Shinar Trial Attorneys is on your side. One call is all it takes. No cost, no risk. And they don't get paid until you do. Call 877-222-6666 or visit alexwins.law. They fight for you.
Past results do not guarantee future outcomes. Every case is different. Philip George, licensed attorney in Virginia, is responsible for legal work. Office located at 500 East Main Street, Suite 1600-113, Norfolk, Virginia 23510. This is advertising material.
Good sports radio doesn't chase headlines, it explains them. That's the Sports Huddle with Bob and Matt. Weekdays 4 to 6.
Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill on this Tuesday, February 17th morning. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick. Alan alongside. As we're joined now, Matt Wyrick, Orioles beat writer for the Baltimore Sun and co-host of the newly launched Early Birds podcast. Matt, good morning. How's Sarasota treating you?
Doing well, Jack. Appreciate the plug. And yeah, it's certainly a lot better weather than what I left behind in Baltimore.
Yeah. How long are you down there? All of spring training?
I'll be here for the whole first month. So just the last 2 weeks, I'll get a chance to recharge for the season.
I love it. And you're covering the start of a new era down there for the Orioles. What are your expectations for this new manager in Baltimore?
Yeah, they hired Craig Albertaz this offseason, who was the right-hand man for two-time manager of the year, Stephen Vogt, in Cleveland. And so far, he's really set, I feel like, a new tone with this team, him and really the addition of Pete Alonso, two guys who I feel like have totally shifted kind of where everyone's eyes go to in between drills and things like that to kind of dictate the vibes and everything like that. And so far it's been loose, but also competitive. A lot of trash talking going on. I think that's something that's been encouraged by the coaching staff in between drills and like stuff like that. So definitely think they are off to a different start here than they were last year. And certainly after the big offseason that they had, their expectations should be a lot higher than the last place finish they had in 2025.
You mentioned Pete Alonso. They inked him to that 5-year, $155 million deal. That seemed like it strayed from what their approach was last season. How does that fit into this roster?
Yeah, they had a lot of money coming off the books coming into this offseason. So they had some wiggle room with which to make a big splash. And that was kind of the one thing that hadn't really happened with this organization since David Rubenstein took over as owner a couple of years ago, was making that big splash. They were spending more, but to get a big fish like Pete Alonso, somebody who is one of the most prolific power hitters in the game, third most home runs since he entered the league, it represented a big shift for approach for this team. And I think the clubhouse has taken notice of that and really recognizing and gaining confidence from the fact that ownership was willing to kind of push its chips into the middle of the table and take a big swing on a guy like Pete Alonso, who really does have the ability to be a huge difference maker for this lineup and get this team back to what it was in 2023 and the first half of 2024.
Matt Wyrick, Orioles beat writer for the Baltimore Sun, joining us this Tuesday morning. And I mean, last season was disappointing for Baltimore, start to finish. It was just not what people expected. Do you think they made the moves necessary this offseason to get them back to where they were the year prior?
They probably were the most aggressive team, maybe them and the New York Mets this offseason in addressing their roster holes. I would say I'd probably, was talking about this the other day with some people, probably give them a B+ because they were aggressive. They checked off a lot of boxes. They got some big impact talent, particularly for the lineup, not just Pete Alonso, but I think the trade for Taylor Ward. It was also a huge move for this offense. So I like what they did there. I do think that not getting an ace for this rotation, they trade for Shane Baz, they re-signed Zach Eflin, they signed Chris Bassett, all valuable additions that I think will help elevate this rotation in different ways. But to not get the guy who can be your front of the rotation starter, a slam dunk playoff guy who is also going to provide innings for you over the course of a full season, they're kind of getting that from different parts now, from different guys. And it's going to have to be kind of thrown together. So I do think that they really had their sights set on a more frontline starter and kind of fell short of that. And also the bullpen, they traded a bunch of guys at the trade deadline last year. They signed Brian Helsley to be their closer and retrade for Andrew Kittredge. But if Helsley isn't able to return to his form, he had a terrible second half of the Mets last year. They really don't have a whole lot of fallback options for late inning arms. So if their bullpen unravels quickly, it could unravel a lot.
Matt Wyrick joining us this morning, and I think you kind of hit this next question where I'm going with it. But if this team does not live up to expectations, is it because of the lineup or is it because of what they've got in the bullpen?
Well, honestly, they underperformed across the board last year. The lineup was, I'd say, a pretty disappointing unit for this team. I mean, the rotation was probably the most significant problem, what contributed to their season and what it was. But Charlie Morton is gone. Tomoyuki Sugano is gone. They're not relying on Grayson Rodriguez when he didn't turn in a single inning last year. So they made some changes there. But the offense, it's largely, other than Pete Alonso and Taylor Ward, returning a lot of the same guys who they are really counting on for bounce-back seasons. So they need that unit to really carry this team if they're going to win a lot of ball games and stay competitive in the American League East. this lineup is going to have to carry them at times. So they really don't have a whole lot of room for the underperformance that they went through in 2025. And I think that is probably the most important thing they need to get right heading into this year.
Who's the guy that you're pinpointing as needing the biggest bounce back here in 2026?
It's probably Colton Cowser. The Orioles didn't go out and sign a center fielder to challenge him for playing time. So he's getting a real opportunity to start this season to secure that starting center field job. He looked pretty good out there in the second half of last year. They were kind of testing him out in center, kind of maybe profiled as a better corner outfielder, but I think he held his own. So defensively, I think there's a lot to like about what Cowser brings to the table, but really it's about the strikeouts. Over the last 2 seasons, players with at least 900 plate appearances, Colton Cowser has the worst strikeout rate of all the 155 guys to meet that threshold. So he really needs to cut down on the swing and miss. He's made some swing changes coming into this year. And if he doesn't figure things out by the middle of the season, the Orioles have their 2023 first-round pick, Enrique Bradfield Jr., who's expected to start the year in AAA, who could be knocking on the door. 80 grade speed, 80 grade defense. The question is just whether or not he can hit. But certainly if Cowser isn't kind of panning out there in the middle of the season, the Orioles might have to make a change. So it's really, he has a prime opportunity here to earn this job, but it is also a little bit of now or never.
Matt Weyrich, Orioles beat writer for the Baltimore Sun, joining us this Tuesday morning. And I know it's early on. Everyone just got to Sarasota maybe, 2-3 days ago or so. But early on in spring training down there in Sarasota, who's impressed the most?
Yeah, pitchers and catchers have been down here for a week, so we have gotten to see pretty much everyone on the staff now throwing at least one live bullpen. Trevor Rogers, who finished last year on an absolute tear with a sub-2 ERA over 18 starts. He has looked great so far and probably the most impressive pitcher, just mowing through guys. His first 6 batters, he struck out 5 of them. I mean, it was methodical. And he's not somebody who has just this crazy overpowering stuff. He just has a way of generating weak contact and really with his location, I think it was really on point. So from the pitching side, I'd say Trevor Rogers. And then hitting, really it's been Heston Kjerstad, who's a bit of a forgotten name in this mix. And somebody who's really going to have to earn his way back onto the Orioles roster. But he was their 2020 first-round pick, number 2 overall, and dealt with what was a kind of an undisclosed injury/condition last year. We don't really know what it was, but wasn't able to kind of take hold of some playing time when he had the opportunity last year, got sent down to the minors and didn't play after July. He has looked great so far, a couple of home runs, which they always say that pitchers are ahead of hitters early in spring. That has not been the case for Heston Kjerstad. He has been dialed in and also worked out with Jackson Holliday's dad, Matt Holliday, the 7-time All-Star this offseason, who talked to him about kind of moving away from his leg kick, which maybe was disrupting his timing a little bit. So I would say Rogers and Kjerstad have been the 2 early standouts.
Kjerstad's a guy that is so intriguing to me because when I lived down in Charlotte, the Norfolk Tides came into town to face off against the Knights. It was early on in the season a couple of years ago, and it was when the Tides had Mayo down there, Holliday, Kjerstad, and their lineup just was essentially a major league lineup playing at AAA level. And Kjerstad was the one that stood out the most. He was the one that kind of jumped off the diamond. He was hitting them long. He looked to be the guy that was going to have the most success at the MLB level. And yet, last season kind of seemed a little weird. So good to hear that he's impressing early on, is kind of living up to the expectations that I think all Orioles fans had for him 2, 3, 4 years ago.
Yeah, I think that he in the minor leagues has proven everything he's needed to prove as far as being major league ready. And that was what was kind of so frustrating for him early on in his career, was that he just has stuck in AAA, kind of similar to Kobe Mayo, really just blocked at the major league level, never really got an opportunity. And then he finally gets one when Colton Cowser breaks his thumb 3 games into the season and just can't run away with that playing time. So whatever he was dealing with last year, he seems to have put it behind him. He is going to have to kind of earn his way up the depth chart again. Like I said, might have to begin the year in AAA. But honestly, if he keeps hitting the way that he's been hitting in camp, if that translates into spring training, I mean, they might have to make some tough decisions about who is on this bench, because he might be a left-handed bat they can't afford to not have on the roster.
Matt Weyrich, Orioles beat writer for the Baltimore Sun, joining us this Tuesday morning. And Matt, last question here before we let you go. I know we are just at the start of spring training, but what are your expectations? What's the realistic ceiling for the Baltimore Orioles in 2026?
Yeah, I think the American League East is the toughest division in baseball. I mean, every single team is kind of going for it. Even the Tampa Bay Rays trying to thread their needle every year of going for it while also building for the future. But I think that the Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays had really aggressive off seasons as well, bringing in a lot of talent. The Blue Jays obviously came outs away from winning the World Series over the Dodgers, so we know what they're capable of. I think the Orioles, the way things stand right now, to me, seem like the number 3 team in the division behind the Blue Jays and the Yankees. But, the Yankees didn't make much moves this offseason. So as with everybody on that team getting a year older, they're continuing to rely on guys who are in their late 20s, early 30s. They have Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon coming off injuries. So what they look like this year is kind of a question mark. I can see the Orioles fighting for a wild card spot in this division. And honestly, if things really do remain as competitive as we expect them to be, this division might be one where the win totals are a bit suppressed because everybody is just beating up on each other. So really, it could be anyone's game between any of these 5 teams. And, what the Orioles trying to do what the Blue Jays did last year, going worst to first in the AL East, I'd say it's within the realm of possibilities. But as things stand right now, I'd probably put them in a wild card hunt.
Awesome, Matt. Appreciate your time. Enjoy the Sunshine State. Have fun covering spring training the rest of the way.
Appreciate you, Jack, and go Dukes.
Heck yeah, man. I almost said a bad word on that one. Glad I did not. Matt nearly got me, but he's an Orioles beat writer for the Baltimore Sun, co-host of the newly launched Early Birds podcast. Fun fact, I took the blame for a couple of absences in one of Matt's classes when we were in sports communication, a minor together. I took a couple of parties and absences that were his, but the professor gave to me. But that's besides the point. That has nothing to do with it.
Sounds like you're snitching.
And look, no, we worked it out. It's fine, Matt. No, I don't know if Matt remembers that or not. But
yeah, it sounds like you're snitching.
Hey, we are both living the dream. He's down there in Sarasota. I'm up here in Richmond. We're both doing what we wanted to do. So I'd say it worked out well for us.
If your dream's Richmond and he's in Sarasota.
in the winter, in February.
Yeah.
Look, I always dreamed of gray skies in the capital of the Commonwealth while friends of mine were down in the Sunshine State watching baseball all day.
Yeah.
But look, the Orioles, he seems just about what I expected about it. Like the Orioles are kind of right down the middle. If they can get back to the 2024 levels, they'll be a solid, respectable team. But I do worry that they did not go out. They did not get an ace. I do worry that their bullpen just is not going to be strong enough for them to have a real shot in the postseason. The Pete Alonso signing was an interesting one. 5 years, $155 million for a guy who was on a 1-year kind of prove-it deal just, 365 days ago with the New York Mets. I question that move. I would have preferred to keep the lineup where it was and go out and use that money for an ace. That didn't materialize for the Orioles, so I guess they wanted to spend that money and they got out the splashy Pete Alonso signing. But there are still some serious questions for the Baltimore Orioles, and it seems like Matt's kind of monitoring all of those. So we'll catch up with him again throughout the season and appreciate him taking some time. But the Orioles, they came into last year with heavy World Season expectations on them, much like a lot of teams around the league. I almost threw your team under the bus, but I decided I'm going to play it nice on this Tuesday morning.
No, I mean, the
just
Braves
didn't live up to it.
If the Braves stay healthy, they've got a chance to contend. The thing with the Orioles is they just got to perform in the bigger moments, right?
Yeah.
Like we know they've got the
just got to
talent.
be consistent.
Yeah. And you addressed it too, the pitching. It always comes down to the pitching.
It comes down to the pitching when you want to win World Series championships, right? Like that is the biggest thing. The Dodgers nearly lost this last World Series. Why? Because they were so injured in their bullpen. That's what it just comes down to so often. All right, let's get a break in here. We'll step aside. Do want to put a little bow on this Tuesday edition with some FCS to FBS move talk. Because North Dakota State, that news came out about a week ago. But yesterday, Sacramento State, the details of their deal, they got released. And man, oh man, does the MAC have good lawyers and good negotiators, because they made out like bandits on that one. We'll talk about that to wrap up this Tuesday edition of Fitz the Bill.
The Atlantic 10 Women's Basketball Championship returns to the Henrico Sports and Event Center March 4th through the 8th. Get your tickets at Atlantic10.com/tickets to be part of the action. That's Atlantic10.com/tickets, and we'll see you on the court.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband, and he lost weight, and his cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend lost 20 pounds her first 2 months.
Oh my, what are you waiting for? Lose the weight or stop smoking with Hypnosis Guaranteed, only $59.99. Hypnosis, designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late-day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. That's right, Hypnosis, Thursday, February 26th at the Comfort Suites at Virginia Center Commons in Glen Allen. Weight loss hypnosis, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. And Saturday, February 28th at the Hilton Garden Inn in Colonial Heights. Weight loss hypnosis, 11 a.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-783-8055. That's 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
West Cary Sports Bar is the perfect spot to catch a VCU Rams game, college basketball, soccer, NBA, or the Winter Olympic Games. Robinson and Cary Street in the Fan. Online at westcarysportsbar.com.
Behind on your City of Richmond gas or water bill? Now's the time to get back on track with DPU to avoid disconnections. For a limited time, eligible customers can reset their account and enroll in a manageable payment plan through Promise Pay. Even if you already have a payment plan, you may still qualify for better terms. Prefer help in person? Back on Track community events are happening across the city. Find event details or explore your repayment options at rva.gov/public-utilities/backontrack.
It's tax time, y'all. If you want to file free, this next one's for you.
Now taxes is so free. Tax free edition only, roughly 37%.
Love that jam. Up next, commercial.
And to get TurboTax free edition, see if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit, student loan interest, and Schedule 1A.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
If we're talking about it, it matters, and I'll tell you why. The Sports Huddle with Matt and Bob, weekdays 4 to 6.
Welcome back in, Fitz the Bill. As we wrap up this Tuesday, put a little bow on it. Talk some FCS to FBS moves, the money behind it all. Alan, did you see this Sacramento State deal? They got fleeced by the MAC.
Wait, you can't get fleeced by the
No. So you haven't seen it?
I have not.
Let me throw this at you. Sac State's cost of entry into the MAC is going to be around $18 million, plus the $5 million in an FBS entry fee. Plus, over the course of their entry, I think it's like a 6-year probationary period. I think it's 6 years. They are accepting 0 conference distribution over that stretch. And over that stretch, they are covering the air travel for all visiting MAC football teams.
All right, that's crazy.
Right. So total, all in, just the upfront, or not the upfront price, but the total price that they will pay between entry fees and the travel costs stands to exceed $25 million. And they're not getting anything on the back end to kind of compensate that, because they're not being part of the media rights deals. They're not getting any of the push, the money coming back to them over the next 5 or so years while they're in the probationary period is what I'm calling it during this move from Big Sky to MAC. That's a horrible deal. That is not worth it.
That is a horrible deal and very confusing. But I mean, Sacramento State is known to apparently have the money.
They've been saying they have the money, man.
We're gonna find out.
They've been saying they got the money. They're like that friend that you got on Facebook that's always posting his wads of cash, but then is always asking for money.
Yeah,
and you're like, no, this just doesn't make sense. This just does not make sense. For comparison's sake, the North Dakota State deal, they have to pay the $5 million transition fee as well, but their entry fee into the Mountain West is only $12.5 million. And the school will receive a full share of the Mountain West television revenue beginning in 4 years, but it will collect 50% of college football playoff and bowl revenue distributed to full members this year and 100% after its second postseason appearance. And the school plans to challenge the NCAA's 2-year probationary period. So North Dakota State will try to get into the postseason this year. And if they do, they get a good amount of money back. So for the North Dakota State deal, they signed a pretty standard deal. And then you compare it to Sacramento State. Really the kicker to me that I am just flabbergasted by is the fact that they agreed to pay for the air travel for all visiting MAC football teams. Plus, Sacramento State is a football-only move. Just mind-boggling. Mind-boggling that you're willing to pay for the air travel costs.
Yeah, I didn't understand the air travel costs. Like, why would you foot the bill and you're the smaller school?
I don't love the MAC, and this is getting to the root of, college football expansion, all of that. But something that was great about the MAC was that it was the MAC. It was right there in the heart of the country. It was Ohio. It was cold nights. It was snow. It was Tuesday nights. It was weird. It was beautiful. And now you're adding Sacramento State. That feels too luxury for the MAC. Like the MAC, I picture rusted seats, Fords, football. Sacramento, I see like not that.
Well, if the Big Ten can add USC and UCLA, then
Big Ten,
MAC should be able to add Sacramento.
You're
State.
right. Big Ten and the MAC equals. Very similar. Very similar. Very similar in what they do. But I expect North Dakota State to be an extremely competitive team the first year of this move. I fully expect North Dakota State to be in contention for the Mountain West in year one. And I don't think that's too crazy. I think if they're even given, that if they're given entrance into the postseason where they're challenging the NCAA's 2-year probationary period, if you rewind it a couple of years, we all remember how JMU's challenge to the NCAA's rules went. The NCAA stood hard and fast on their rules. So likely North Dakota State will have that 2-year probationary period. Worth noting that, of course, the probationary period that bars it from postseason play does have a huge asterisk next to it. And that is they will be the first call among teams if they do not have enough to fill the bowl games. So that has had to be used the last couple of years. And the interesting part in all of this is, does that count towards their appearances in the postseason? Because they will collect 50% of college football playoff and bowl revenue distributed their first year making it in, and in their second year making it in. And from there on, they get 100% of the revenue distributed. So that's just something to kind of be monitoring. But you look at who's in the Mountain West. You've got teams like the Air Force Academy. You've got Nevada. You've got UNLV, New Mexico, San Jose State, Wyoming. Because you got to remember, the best teams in the Mountain West got picked over to go to the new Pac-12. Boise's gone. Fresno State's gone. Colorado State's gone. SDSU's gone. Utah State's gone. Which, side note, very good for North Dakota State fans that San Diego State is out of the conference, so they can't get confused with an SDSU type of thing. They won't get confused there. But, I mean, that's not a strong conference in the Mountain West. North Dakota State makes that move, and they're immediately the best team in that conference. They would have been that best team in the conference this past year as well. And now they're moving up from 65 to 86 scholarships. They won't have to add on any extra scholarships in other sports or even add in other women's sports. They still are Title IX compliant. I mean, North Dakota State is going to be a monster at the FBS level. And speaking from my JMU fandom here for a moment, I mean, get that home and home on the schedule now. If you're Matt Roan, I hope his calls every single day. He has started his day with a cup of coffee and a call to the athletic director of North Dakota State, trying to get a home and home on the schedule. Get rid of that Liberty series, rip up that contract, try to figure it out, buy it out. I don't know. Somehow get out of it. That ain't my job to figure out. You got to get rid of that Liberty series, but North Dakota State on the schedule is that series, because that would be a G5 contest that people would tune into. It's got history. It's fantastic. But North Dakota State, when you look at their deal compared to Sacramento State, looks like North Dakota State got an absolute bargain, and they are going to be competing for college football playoff berths within the next 3 years. I mean, that is just how good the Bison are. I am excited to have them as part of the FBS now. Good for the Mountain West for extending them an invitation. Good for them. Sacramento State, on the other hand, you would have been better off staying at the FCS level. I don't know what got into you to sign one of the worst deals I've ever seen in my entire life. You're paying for all the travel costs? Whew, good luck. Good luck. That might just bankrupt the school. Yikes. All right, that'll do it for this Tuesday edition of Fitz the Bill. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. In the meantime, keep it locked right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, where Richmond talks sports. Coming up next, we've got Clinton and Friends. That takes you into the Rich Eisen Show. And then at 4, we're back live and local here from the capital of the Commonwealth. The new Sports Huddle with Matt and Bob. And tonight, we've got the VCU game. Should be a fun one on CBS Sports Network, Havoc Night. I'll be in attendance. Should be fun. We'll have all the latest from the game tomorrow. We'll have our preview for the Spiders game, which tips tomorrow as well. So keep it locked right here, 106.1 ESPN Richmond. Appreciate you for making us part of your morning. Have a good one.
Your home